Audiobooks New Zealand presents this unabridged reading of Shimmersea, Whatever Happened to Miss New Zealand, 1949. Written by Mary Woodward, narrated by Sylvia Rands.
Forward. Sandra Coney. Writing autobiography or memoir is undoubtedly the hardest task a writer can set herself. It is usually tackled when we are getting on in years, and involves the mature self bringing wisdom and judgment to bear on the actions of her younger self. It is a task Mary Woodward goes about with honesty and grace. She is unsparing of herself, and so we are swept along on her life's journey, wishing for the best and sorrowing with the tragic events she has had to deal with along her way. At the age of 90, Mary has come to a place of peace in her life, still living at the property she built for herself at Wood Bay, Titirangi, Auckland, respected for her talents as a writer, and as one of the matriarchs of the iconic Bethells family enclave at Te Henga. In her own words, "Now I feel it right to go back and examine the whole drama, because at last I have come to a place of acceptance of myself and my life, without bitterness or regret." It is both an ordinary and an extraordinary story, and sometimes simultaneously both. Ordinary, in that it is the story of a woman born in the early years of the 20th century, and experiencing all the change and lack of change that century brought to that generation of women. Extraordinary, because strange and exotic and significant events have punctuated Mary's life. But it is still the most intimate and personal happenings that have the power to truly wrench us. Mary's story begins with her birth in Western Samoa, where her father was posted to a legal position in the administration in 1919, New Zealand having invaded Samoa as its first act of World War I. So her earliest childhood experiences were shaped by a far-off war. This juxtaposition of how Mary's life reflects the bigger stage, a near century of change, while being at the same time the story of a girl, a woman, a wife and a mother, is what gives this memoir its power. I had known that Mary was Miss New Zealand 1949, but here we get the full story. Mary was a kind of ambassador for New Zealand overseas, and became the 50s equivalent of a celebrity, a status which was to somewhat dog her when she returned to New Zealand.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?